Hey guys, hope you're all well. We've got No One Knows Today by Queens of the Stone Age. I apologise for not being around for the last month or so. I've taken on a load of extra teaching work and finding time to do these tutorials is becoming kind of tricky. So I was up at 5:30 this morning, setting everything up and ready to film nice and early on a Friday morning. Hopefully this will be out by the weekend. Fingers crossed. Got a few new gadgets today, so new camera for a start, which is why we're going from the front, because this camera doesn't actually have the field of view available to film from this side without chopping my head off. One of the cons of being a bit tall, I guess. New lapel mic, so hopefully the vocals sound a little bit better, or rather the voiceover. It's not really vocals. I'm certainly not singing during this tutorial. Right, a new format as well. So what's taking me a really long time in filming these tutorials, and we're talking probably between, I don't know, anywhere between 5 and 7 hours once you've taken all the editing into account, is putting all the graphics in for the notation on each video. And while I appreciate this is all really helpful, there is a free PDF at dukegrooves.com for everything that I do. So what we're going to do this week is, rather than me putting up all these notation graphics into the video, I'm just going to assume that you've gone to the website, gone to the blog page, downloaded this PDF, and you can follow along. What this means is that I'll be able to do a lot more of these because I'll be cutting down the time that it takes to actually do them. So hopefully that's okay with everybody. If it's really a massive deal, then let me know. But like I say, hopefully this is going to be a better way of doing things. Right, enough about that. No one knows. Let's get cracking. Okay, so we're in 4/4 today, 4 to the floor on a lot of this stuff, which means the kick drum is going to be predominantly playing on 1, 2, 3, 4 throughout most of the song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a lot of repetition in this song. Dave Grohl is a phenomenal drummer when it comes to writing drum beats. He's first to admit he's not the most technically advanced, and he's definitely, I would say, overrated in that department, but as far as his ability to write a drum track, he is easily one of the best. We've got a real simple drive-in verse in this with some very simple fills going on, and then in the chorus he's just unleashing with fills and unleashing further with all these solos where the guitarist is soloing, the bassist is soloing, and the drummer is soloing all at the same time. It sounds incredible, and they lean right back into that last verse. And this song is amazing. Right. Excuse my kind of fandom on this, but yeah, I love this song. This is a fantastic tune to play. I'm really excited about this. Now, I'm going to be doing a drum cover of this and a drums only track as well, because there's a few more people requesting drums only, which I think are mostly guitarists and bassists, but they are, after all, people too. So yeah, watch out for that. Right, the actual intro. Let's get started. Intro, right, nice and simple. We're going to have 1 rack tom, floor tom, kick drum. 1, 2, open the hi-hat nice and wide, snare drum at the same time. Close the hi-hat on the 3 with another rack tom, floor tom, kick drum, and we're going to repeat that for the first 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to come into the next 4 bars. 4 bars? 8 bars. Next 2 lines, which are going to be like an intro drum beat. With a crash, and then we're into our main drum beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So that little skip on the second bar. 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Being that this whole song is in triplets, we're going to be counting 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. I should have said that at the beginning, but I kind of forgot, so I'm saying it now. Rather than going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, which is our 16th note count for straight songs, this is going to be our swung tune, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So that little second bar skip again, 1, 2, 3 and a 4. And the hi-hat's going to close in time with the kick on beat 1 on bar 3, which is that little plus sign above it. That same skip happens at the end of the 4th bar and the 6th bar, which brings us to the end of the intro, where we've got a different variation, and it's going to go like this. 1, 2, 3 and a 4, 1, 2. Got to remember to close that hi-hat. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a. So that hi-hat's going to close on beat 3 when I hit that rack tom. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a. And that's going to bring us into verse 1. Starting off with a crash. 1, 2, 3, 4. More of the same groove, so I'm not going to go through that anymore. One thing I will point out about the groove is that you want to really aim to get all three of these coming down together at the same time, and it's a lot harder than most people would realise to get that to happen rather than any kind of flamming, which may well happen at the beginning. It just takes its time and practice just trying to get everything to land together. As I play this, you'll probably hear me slip up with this a few times, but most of the time I'm kind of pleased that I can get this, but it's taking a lot of practice. So having that kick drum line up with the snare, for people that haven't done this before, it might feel a little bit odd. You've kind of got all this power at once, and they tend to sound like they kind of cancel each other out when you're playing on top. But believe me, when you're hearing this on a track, it sounds awesome, especially when you're in a club or something as well. It really gets people moving. So that's the groove. I'm going to go through in this verse the variations. As I say, there's a lot of repetition in this tune, so I'm just going to go through the variations to save a little bit of time, because God knows we're all short on that. So end of the first line of the verse, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and easy, opening the hi-hat on beat 4. And we're going to come back down for the 1 for the second line with a closed hi-hat. End of line 2, we've got the same fill as the intro going into the verse. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and, sorry, 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a. That brings us into our third line with a crash. A little bit of a difference on the third line. We're going to do a bit of a kind of building the intensity of the verse. We're going to open the hi-hat a little bit, so we're here rather than here. So a little bit washy, but not out of control, because we still want access to an open hi-hat to show there's a difference. So third line, same beat. At the end of the second bar this time, we're going to have a little skip. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1. And then we're going to go into the fourth bar of that line, which is going to be kind of the inverted skip, which goes 1, 2, 3 and a 4. And we're going to open the hi-hat right up on that beat 4. 1, 2, 3 and a 4. And then close it back up for the fourth line. We're going to have that same skip we just did with the open hi-hat at the end of bar 2 of that second line. And then at the end of that fourth line, we're going to have the same fill as going in from the intro to the verse. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a. This next bit is going to be verse 2, and we're going to repeat everything that we've just done. So same variations in the same places until we get to the last 2 lines. There are an additional 2 lines. So we've had 4 lines already. We're now looking at bar 43 on the sheet, which is kind of a bridge, I guess. We're going to go back to line 3 of the verse to do this. So we're washing the hi-hat a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1. Same skip as before. And then the inverted skip at the end. Bring us back into the last line. The end of this line, we're just going to open that hi-hat up to bring in the chorus, where all the fun begins. We've got a simple formula for the chorus. We're going for 2 bars of fill, followed by 2 bars of groove. Now, the groove is nice and easy, because that's going to repeat itself over and over again. The fills are where the complexity comes into play, because they're going to be different each time. Thankfully, they're kind of very similar between the choruses themselves, so we haven't got to do something entirely different. It's not like Toxicity or anything like that, where everything is different all the time. So the first fill, we've got 4 to the floor kick drums, as we do on all of them. And we've got single note triplets that are slightly broken, okay? So we've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So we're going round in sets of 3, but we're actually going round the drums in sets of 2. 3 and a 4 and a. Obviously with those kick drums underneath. And then we're going to go into the groove. The groove is this. It shouldn't be too hard if you're attempting this song. Crash cymbal, what you'll notice on the video potentially is that he's using what looks like a ride cymbal. I would argue that this is actually still a crash cymbal. It looks quite small. At bare minimum it's a crash ride, but he's flying through it, and that can sound really cool in some recordings. Travis Barker uses this quite a lot in Blink-182, but I recommend using a crash cymbal. You're going to get a more desired effect from it. So you've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So the kicks go on the 1, a 2, 3, a 4, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. Back into our second fill, we're going to have single note triplets again, but we're going to divide them up between the crash and the crash and the snare drum. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Same fill to exit, and then back into the groove. Third fill, this is the good one. This one's the really, really cool fill that I've seen done numerous ways. I've seen flam accents, I've seen 16th note triplet strokes going on here. What he is playing here is called a hurter, and it's like that. 1 and 2 and. Not 1 and 2 and. 1 and 1 and I think they were originally popularised by a guy called Billy Cobham back in the 70s probably. Kind of brought back by Dave Grohl in this tune. Again, Travis Barker uses this all the time in Blink-182, and it's just broken down. It's 1 and so your standard triplet with a right, right, left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and and then all we're doing is slotting in another left-handed stick in between the first two rights. So rather than 1 and right, right, left, we're going to go 1 and 1 and right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, 1, 2, 3, 1 and okay? It takes a little bit of time to get used to this because you've got two 16th notes followed by 2 8th notes, so you're breaking the rhythm up a little bit. It's almost kind of slowing down mid fill. But practice this slowly, so you get that kind of fill, and eventually you're going to be able to build some speed with this when you're comfortable with how to actually play it. Okay, so the actual fill itself, within the context of the song, we're passing it between the snare, the rack tom, and then ended up on the floor tom. Kick drums underneath for the 4 to the floor effects. That's the third fill. Back into the groove again. Okay, so for the fourth fill, we're going nuts on the cymbals this time. Plenty of head shaking, plenty of head banging. Totally optional, but I highly recommend it. We're going to be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no exit fill this time. Just smash that one out. Back into another groove. By the end of this groove, we're going to do a little fill to come out of it. So we're going to go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So that's in the same way the hurter is 1 and. This is going to be 1 and So we're getting the 2 16th note triplets in the space of that last count. 1 2 3 4, and there's a crash and a kick. 1 2 3 4. Which brings us back into kind of a little tag, sort of an intro going back into the verse again. Exactly the same as what we've seen before. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Nice little skip, and then 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 and 4 and into verse 3. Verse 3 is exactly the same as the previous verses in every way, shape and form. And then verse 4, again exactly the same as the previous verses, but those final two lines, so we're now looking down at 103, bar 103 on the PDF. We're just going to change the end of that line, and we're going to make it the same as the end of the last line. So we're going to go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. I'm just going to open that hi-hat up on beat 4 of that bar, which is going to bring us into chorus number 2. We are going to have the same thing again as the first chorus, except for the last fill, which is all these broken up broken up triplets, I'm going to call them. Now, on the drums only track that I've tracked down, which is from Rock Band, where they can isolate the drums and you can hear all sorts of stuff in the background. It's quite entertaining to hear people talking, and you can hear like little parts of the bass line, parts of the vocals and that stuff. It sounds like there's an edit that's been made on this, so I don't know whether maybe there was a mistake made on the recording, so they kind of chopped it up a little bit, but you can definitely hear like a really harsh edit on the drums on this. But regardless of that, the Philly user sounds really cool, what they've done. They've obviously done it for a good reason. Counted out, this is going to go like this. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. It's a little bit weird. I noticed the second time we hit the snare, it's just a single note. That's where that edit happened, so that might have just chopped off the beginning of the flam, maybe, I don't know. But it's not what's on the track. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and bouncy to go back into the final groove. Coming out of the final groove, 3 and a 4 and a right, left, right, left. Which is going to bring us into our middle 8. Right, the middle 8. We're going to be expanding on the groove that we were doing at the end of the chorus and adding an additional kick on the and of 2 and the and of 4. So we're going to go 1, a 2 and 3, a 4 and 1, a 2 and 3, a 4 and. And then we've got snare and a hi-hat open, close for a flam, kick, flam, toms for 2. So we've got, and these are quarter note triplets, so they're going in the same time as our kick drum on this groove. 1 bum 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 bum. Back into the groove again. This time when we get to the end of the bar, we're going to do the same fill, and then we're going to carry it on 2 more times. And then on the very last one, we're going to be putting, we're going to turn it into 8th note triplets by putting kick drums in between, like this, which gives us. And then we're going to have a crash at the end of it on the snare. So that little bit at the end. And a nice little choke on the cymbal. We're then kicking off all these solos. So we start with a 4-bar bass break where he kicks off the rhythm. And then we're going to come into some very cool stuff. Right, so when we're doing single note triplets and we're going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, generally we want to keep everything right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So on beats 1 and 3 of the bar, we're starting with our right hand. On beats 2 and 4, we're starting the triplets with our left hand. However, I don't think he's doing this on the track because of the orchestration with the toms. So with these first first 2 bars, we're going to go, rather than 1 and we're going to go 1 and with the left hand, which enables us to go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So we can spread around that way. If we go as we normally would, we're going to have to do this, which I'm just not knowing Dave Grohl as a drummer that's going to do all these crossovers when he can just kind of feel it out a different way. Because I can definitely hear the toms go boom boom. If you want to do that, it's cool, but I would advise just switching over to the left. Like that. So the first bar is exactly that. 1 and a 2 and a 3. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. The second bar, same thing again, but we're going to hit the floor tom rather than the crash cymbal to start it. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So those 2 bars, third bar, which is actually bar 144 if you're following along. So this one, we're switching back to our usual way of doing single note triplets, right into the right there. 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under. That fill right at the end, you're going to have a lot of difficulty hearing those last floor toms on the track. They're really low in the mix, but they're on the drumless track, so we're keeping them in there. I don't think he's intentionally playing ghost notes on there. He's either just going around the kit and it's a little bit lighter on toms, which I've been guilty of myself in recordings, or they just lowered it down for mixing purposes. Who knows? So those last 2 bars of the first line, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under. You can stick, where there's all these gaps in the broken notes, some people will be putting ghost notes on there, which is absolutely fine. If you want to add a bit more feel to it, I think he does that live. They're just not that audible in the track, so he kept it like that. The second line, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under. Nothing too tricky there, it's all single note triplets. We've got crashes on the beginning of the first 2 bars, doubling up on the second bar on beats 1 and 3, and then 1 on the 4th bar with that fill to come out of it again. Finally, we're going to build the intensity even further. 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under. And now we got a set of hurters to finish off that solo. 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, 1 under, 2 under, 3 under, 4 under, crash. To go to the end. So that solo in its entirety. Right, the final verse going into the outro. We've got pretty much 8 bars of silence here. So we've just crashed that at the end of the solo. We're going to have the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars of silence. In the 8th bar to bring the beat back, we're going to have the same things we had in the first chorus. So we've got 1 under, 2 under, 3 and a 4. And then we're into our groove again. It's actually following the same format as all the verses, just that the first line isn't there. Second line fill was still the same. Third line was swelling the hi-hats up with those same skips that were involved, both the standard skip and that inverted one. And then we're closing the hi-hats back up, swelling them for the very end. And then our ending for our outro is the same as our intro with an additional fill at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 1, which is just snare, rack, floor, kick. Right, so that's the end of the tune. Hopefully this new format is still really useful. Like I said, I want to try and cut down the length of these videos, so please comment and let me know what you thought of this one. It's obviously a lot shorter, and hopefully it hasn't lost any of the quality that the previous videos have had. This song is a really cool tune, and if you're not used to playing in triplets, it's a really good one to start off with, because there is a level of complexity there with the hurters that are going to push you, but just to solidify playing in triplets and playing lots of singles around the kit and pass them onto cymbals and toms and the like, and also breaking them apart as well. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to go to the website to check out the free PDF. Like, it will always be free to download. There's never going to be any charge for that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that's about it. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you next time. Take it steady.